Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is Trey Evans. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Today, I wanted to cover a video on failure, and you know, failure is a obviously a common topic, but I wanted to cover this because it's important that if you are experiencing a failure, you've experienced a failure, it's important for everyone to understand that failure is part of the process of living, right? It's not just isolated to you. And I know that when I've experienced failure and from friends and family who have told me about different failures that they've experienced, it's always when they describe it, it's almost like an isolated incident. Like it's only them, or when I've described it in the past, it's only been me. But in actuality, failure is common, and failure is also very powerful because there are certain lessons in the failure that will allow you and propel you to the next steps in your journey. So I thought it was important to highlight this video. It's a short video. It's only like 3 minutes and change, but I came across it and I said, you know what, I want to share this on my channel because as I've said, a million times, my channel is about upliftment and inspiration, and failure again is a common emotion or a common feeling that we've all experienced, and so I thought this video did a great job of speaking to that and highlighting the experience of it and then the benefits of it. So this is learning from failure, and if you like the video and you enjoy this type of content, please feel free to describe. I mean, describe. Please feel free to subscribe and like the video, and then leave a comment. If you think it's great, leave me a comment. If you don't like it, leave a comment. All feedback is welcome. All right.
Everyone wants to avoid failure, but despite our best efforts, it happens all the time. Failure can be difficult to accept, but it can also be an incredible learning opportunity. Years ago, I wrote my first novel, this science fiction tale of renewable energy and unrequited love, and it was absolutely terrible. Before I started, I had one goal: to create a quality piece of art. And when the final product fell short of this goal, I deemed it a total failure. But after some time passed, I realized I learned more about writing and storytelling from creating that horrible novel than anywhere else. That realization made me reconsider the value of failure. Now we need to make one thing clear. Failure itself is a drag, a bummer, an emotional kick in the gut. It'll leave you vulnerable and embarrassed, and you will probably encounter it at some point in your life.
I think that's such an important part to this video. The fact that he highlighted that, not only did he talk about his personal experience with failure and how it became a learning opportunity, but also the feelings surrounding failure. Because as I said in the beginning of the video, so many times when it occurs, we think that it's just us, that this just happens to us, when in all actuality, it is not only an experience that we've experienced, as human beings and people that are going through the process of living, but it's almost like a universal feeling that we could all relate to. And, as his timeline points out there, at some point in your life, you're going to experience failure. But it is not for you to just, I guess, internalize it and just accept it. Let's get the lesson out of it, and let's use it to propel ourselves to the next journey, or to the next steps in our journey. But let's finish watching the video.
But failure does not mean you are stupid or worthless. It means you took a calculated risk, invested time and effort into something, and came up short. That's all. Failure can bring anyone down. I used to approach each creative project as if it was destined to be a timeless masterpiece. And when the result wasn't as good as I hoped, I'd sink into despair over my apparent lack of talent and vow to never leave the house again. But making myself feel bad got me nowhere. So if you fail, you can mourn for a while, but don't get comfortable in the sadness. If you're truly eager to improve, you'll need to figure out what went wrong. It's tough to admit when we've done something poorly, but in order to learn from failure, you have to be honest about the shortcomings in your work.
I think that's so important. Um, Oftentimes, not only when we fail, we'll fail and then we sometimes don't take the time to analyze at what interval did we fail at, right? Because, anytime you attempt anything, it's a process, right? And just like any process, there are moments in the process that you did things well, and then there are moments in the process when you didn't do things well. So I think it's very key information about the analyzing of where you came up short, because it could just be that small tweak that can be the difference between success and failure. So I like that he pointed that out, about analyzing the process and understanding the shortcomings that led to the failure.
The sooner you admit to these shortcomings, the sooner you can improve. After reflecting on my novel, I realized that my abilities needed work. So I read writing books to improve my storytelling, studied new subjects for inspiration, and practiced writing as often as possible. Eventually, I gathered the confidence to start a new project about a crazy goose. I told myself that I wouldn't mess up like last time. So I went out and tried and failed again. Understand
That is such key information, right? And I know I'm stopping the video, but this is great information and it's very concise. I like these type of videos that are very concise. So he failed, made a commitment that he was not going to fail, did the research, analyzed the shortcomings to the areas to where he thought he had failed, went out, and then failed again. But guess what? That's the process of living. You may not get it correct the first time or the second time or maybe even the third time. Like any other process, it needs to be tweaked. Success needs to be tweaked depending on, what area or what you're trying to do to become successful in. You have to tweak it. You have to keep working at it. And eventually, if you keep working at it, success is very attainable. And I like that he pointed that out, that he failed. He thought he did all the research and then he failed again. This is a great video.
Understand that failure is not an end point, but merely a part of the self-improvement process. Although it's unpleasant, it's a chance to learn and gain experience. Even though my crazy goose story wasn't great, it was better than the novel. I continued to study and practice, and when I started another project about a wisecracking dinosaur, it turned out better than the goose story. I wasn't a best-selling author or anything, but there was a notable difference in my work. If I judge those projects by my original goal, then yes, they failed as pieces of art. But thanks to those experiences, I became a better writer. When I consider those silly stories from that perspective, they aren't failures at all. Whenever you're trying new things, you will almost certainly run into failure. But if you have an idea worth pursuing, pursue it to the best of your ability, even if it doesn't turn out the way you want, and learn all you can from the experience.
That is, I like this video a lot, obviously. I keep stopping it, but learn all you can from the experience. I'm telling you, when babies learn how to walk because they fall down. But if the baby fell and never got back up, how could the baby learn how to walk? The baby falls and learns from the experience of falling and then gets back up and begins to walk. You have to learn from your experiences. It is so important, especially when you endure a failure at something that you're attempting to do that you haven't done before. You have to learn from the experience, apply it, and then make the next steps to allow yourself to be propelled to the next level in that journey that you're on.
Then try again and do better. Stay curious and open to self-improvement, and failure will always be temporary.
Such a great video. Such a great video. And I like the ending of that. That message is probably even more important than the entire message. Failure is temporary. It is not a permanent it is not a permanent process. It is not a permanent sentence against your life. Failure happens. It happens. It happens to all of us. It's not something that will never happen to you in your lifetime. And if you internalize it as permanent, then it will freeze you from taking the next steps in your life, or even taking the next attempt at something that you haven't done before. Because as he said in the beginning of the video, he said, you took a calculated risk, meaning that whatever it was that you were doing before, you decided to move away from that, to make an attempt to change your life in some manner. And with that came the failure. But failure is temporary, and learn from the experience of failure. Great video. If you like this video that I've just done, please, again, feel free to subscribe to the channel, like the video. I'd appreciate it. And again, I sincerely do want feedback on these videos. So if you want to leave a comment, please leave a comment. I'm building out my channel, as you can tell. For those of you who may not know, I do produce motivational content as well. Shameless plug. You can pull up my content on various streaming sites, Spotify, Apple Music, all of that. My name is Trey Evans. And but yeah, if you like this video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I'll be putting out more content like this. All right, guys. Thanks. Have a great day. Tell them about the dream.